Welcome to our Awakening Together channel. We're so glad that you're here. If you'd like more information about our other programs and satsangs, please visit our website, awakening-together.org. Please enjoy the satsang and thank you for watching. Take it away, Anne.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So I'm thrilled to be here. Oh, great. Now I can see him with Venerable Bhante Wimala. And so let me just say good evening. This is our initial foray into the taking over the satsang duties from Jacqueline Eckert, who is now moving into the president duties. And Helen Avery, Kate Brennan, and myself have agreed to, as the three of us would come together and carry on. It takes three of us to do the job of Jacqueline. Yes, it does. And so I just wanted to thank you and just honor Jacqueline for all the great work she's done. Switching gears to Bhante, it's just a personal thrill to be here with Bhante. And let me just say from the outset that Bhante lives here in New Jersey, even though he travels all around the world. And he considers our home, the Center for Conscious Living, his home, with our founding minister, Reverend Carol Lawson, and all of us. And so what we've done here is a couple of us from the Awakening Together community that's also part of the Center for Conscious Living have kind of gathered together, and so that Bhante has his Jersey girls with him as we move into this time with him. I am so happy to be able to share him with this Awakening Together community. It's a real kindred spirit. So first, let me just say, welcome, Bhante.
Thank you. It's nice to be with all of you. Thank you.
I'm thrilled to hear your audio. That was mostly to make sure that you had a good audio check. And let me make sure with Dawn that we have good audio and Bhante has good audio. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And you'll let me know as we go if that I appreciate that. Second thing I want to do is thank Bhante for being here in general, but more particularly tonight. We thought maybe he'd be in Princeton, that's his home base, but events have called him around the globe. He was in the Philippines accepting quite a Humanitarian Peace Award. Then he was in Nairobi, and now he's in the Czech Republic. So what he did, it's 1:30 in the morning there, and he set his alarm because we talked about it, and I said, it's been announced, and he said, well, if it's announced, I'm not gonna disappoint. And so it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful to have a being that is so connected to the peace that we all are, and he is a force of that peace in the world. So I look forward to him bringing that to all of us. Perhaps I'll begin just real brief with an introduction for those of you who don't know him. I see several in the room that do know him that are also from the Center for Conscious Living, but I'll just give a little overview, that's okay. I know there's many people who talk about how long they've been on the spiritual path. Bhante's spiritual path started when he was 13 years old. And he will talk to us about that. It was his age of 13 that he chose to enter residency at a Buddhist temple and enter that course of study. He received his ordination as a novice the following year and completed 6 more years of formal training as a Buddhist monk before he received an ordination at age 20. And at that stage, usually a Buddhist monk is encouraged by custom and inclination to continue very strict formal studies, which are primarily academic. Bhante, however, chose to set out into the world, bearing only his robe and his bowl. And it's just such a glorious story, which we will get into now. But he spent the next 2 decades traveling and studying under different masters, and then kind of coming into his own in the world and finding his calling to go just following right in the steps of Buddha, to relieve suffering of human beings who are very much in this world. And that is his work. he has written, he has a book of poems, which I share from almost every Wednesday, which you all are familiar with seeing this. And perhaps tonight he will read one of those for us. But he also has another book called The Lessons of the Lotus. The foreword in the book is by none other than the Dalai Lama. And this is what the Dalai Lama has to say. He says, Bhante, as a Theravada Buddhist monk from Sri Lanka, spends his time traveling and teaching in the spirit of monks at the time of Buddha. Bhante presents the teachings the Buddha gave us over 2,500 years ago as if they had been given to address the needs of people today. Bhante Wimala's heartfelt concern for suffering and the simple remedies he draws from Buddhist teachings will be a source of strength for everyone confused by the pressures in the modern world. So we are just so thrilled to have you here, Bhante. And the last thing I'll say before I hand it over to Bhante is, in getting ready for this interview, I went back and watched a bunch of YouTubes and read a whole bunch of stuff. And it was just so touching that every time Bhante comes to do an event, the first thing he always does is thank everyone for showing up and being there and giving themselves that time to be with themselves, to be with their heart's desire, and to open to what the message is. And so I want to give Bhante that same chance right now to thank all of you who you have many choices on a Sunday night for choosing to be here with us and with him. So with that, Bhante, I'll just, if I could hand it over to you for you to do your greeting the way that you always do.
Thank you so much. Good morning, good evening, good night. I don't know where you are, in which part of the world. As Anne mentioned, I'm just in Czech Republic in a beautiful retreat here. Actually, I'm mostly by myself. This is it's a beautiful little castle in the National Forest Reserve. So we have lots of land and practically nobody around. This is up on a little hill. So I'm doing my retreat, and I hadn't shaved, and yet for this I shaved. So again, I really appreciate all of you taking time, coming together with the desire to explore, understand, question, and maybe find some answers for the questions that you have been asking about spirituality, spiritual living, meditation, Buddhism, and so any other subject that you might be interested in. I did not particularly prepare any talks, any focused on any subject. Everything is open. Let me begin by sharing a little bit of my life, and those who are new. As Anne mentioned, I was sent to the temple when I was only 13 years old. I was ordained at the age of 14. And I went through a formal training and monk's training school. When I was just 20, I left Sri Lanka and I traveled in Asia for a few years. I was only 24 when I first came to West, to US and Canada, and I became a resident Buddhist monk in a little island. It's quite a big island in Canada called Newfoundland. If you know Newfoundland, it's a cold and very remote place. And you know exactly why you're not there, why I'm not there now, why I couldn't live long, because it was really cold and a lot of snow, and coming from Sri Lanka, it was a little too much for me at that time. So you know, and now I'm based in the United States, and I have responsibility to provide guidance and I have taken responsibility for a center in Nairobi. It's a Nairobi Buddhist temple, a beautiful sanctuary. And for past 20 years, I have managed that. And then this is the Samadhi Buddhist Meditation Center in Czech Republic. And also, of course, Princeton, New Jersey, we have Triple Gem Society. From that base, I travel and teach around the country and around the world. So my life has two aspects. One is, apart from my personal practice, of course, one aspect is traveling and teaching and sharing spiritual insights and wisdom and experiences that I have acquired over the years. And the other part is conducting humanitarian projects around the world. As Anne mentioned, only last week I was in Philippines accepting a humanitarian award by the government, and there was a huge celebration. And but it was really touching, because most of my work it's supported by so many people from around the world, and I felt such deep gratitude for everybody who has been part of my life and who have joined this journey, and to make a difference in the lives of those who are less fortunate, and those who are suffering, those who are affected by natural disasters, war, and all kinds of conflicts. So I have a personal practice. From time to time, I take sometimes 2-3 days to be silent. Actually, this is my retreat time now, to withdraw from everything and everybody, be silent, and go a little bit deeper with my practice. So that's what I'm doing in Czech Republic. So I will let you ask any questions about, as you said, I don't know the exact format. Anne is going to be the moderator or leader. So I welcome all of you to be open and be really, be excited or be happy about asking questions. Don't worry about the kind of questions that you might have in mind. If it is possible for me to answer, I'll be happy to answer that.
So I appreciate what you were sharing, Bhante, and I want to just give everyone a little background and then ask you a question about the work you do, just to give everyone a sense. Bhante works on different continents. He works in Asia and Africa primarily, but he personally supervises things like restoring entire villages in Sri Lanka that have been ravaged by tsunami and civil war. Haiti goes in and does earthquake relief, typhoon relief in Bangladesh and the Philippines. And then he does large-scale projects, and then he goes in and sees what really has to be done. I was especially touched by, there was a village in Africa where they had literally never had wheelchairs, and the people just crawled where they needed to go. And Bhante shows up, and next thing you know, they're figuring out how to get wheelchairs. I mean, it's everything from bringing sight to people that need surgeries, to bringing medical care and bringing schools. He often shows up at just the toughest times, and he just kind of walks in. And as he always says, what he does is he brings a smile and he brings his optimism. And so what I wanted to ask is, you have certainly faced suffering on a scale that for many of us is just outside of our experience. And I'm wondering, when you go, sure, when you come out of the comfort you've been in, whatever it's been, and you first go, you've got that energy and that enthusiasm. But I think the question I have is, how do you maintain it? How do you process that type of grief? And how do you bring yourself back to center when sometimes you're there for weeks, sometimes you're there for months, and there aren't necessarily quick and easy solutions. And so if you could talk about how the staying power in staying centered in yourself so that you can bring that hope to other people?
Very good question. And let me just take an example so that you will understand very clearly how things unfold usually when I arrive in a place where there is a disaster. When I first went to Philippines after the Typhoon Yolanda, it was the worst ever or the strongest ever typhoon on planet, and the whole island was flat and there was no electricity, no toilets, and no running water, and people had lost everything. And so it is, many people have died and many people were hurt, and there was no proper place to stay. There was a scarcity of food. But when I arrived, I believe that the most important thing when you want to help others who are suffering, you need to pay attention to yourself. You need to keep eye on yourself, your state of mind, your state of consciousness, your intention, your connection with your heart. It is so important that, because if you forget, it is so easy to be overwhelmed by the visuals, overwhelmed by the sounds and the smells and things like that, because we have a tendency to emotionally react, because naturally when we see the suffering of others, and when we see that people are in pain or despair, the most important thing, I think, one of the skills that I have is to connect. Almost I feel like I shift my consciousness, and I don't get tired. I can stay up whole day. Sometimes I work 18 hours a day, and everybody around me gets sick, and I never get sick. And so it is because we all have the ability to step a little bit beyond our human emotion and connect with that heart. Whenever I believe, whatever, if my heart touches something, and nobody can stop me, I can go through fire. So that kind of training often helps me to see that I don't want to go to a place where there is suffering all around me, and to get absorbed into that pain and negativity, and feel helpless myself like everybody else. The idea would be for me to stay above their suffering, so that I'll be able to reduce their suffering. I'll be able to offer love and kindness and joy and smile. And that is the first thing, because you can see any of my videos from around the world. I have been in war zones, and sometimes been surrounded by men with guns, and often in terrible conditions. But I think the most important thing for me is to see their suffering and express that understanding with the connection with people, with a smile, a positive attitude. There are moments that you need to offer sympathy or offer empathy to people, but often, but the way we offer empathy is very, very important, because if I'm completely disturbed by them and start to just to uh, you know grieve with them, I think I can get easily lost. I can be in among them. I can be one of them, so that I could be as helpless as they are. My mind could be blocked. My intentions could be unclear. So the idea, is to remain centered, and know, that compassion, especially, this is where I think the most important thing, to bring compassion, because compassion is not a negative reaction to the suffering of people. Compassion is a positive response, come from the awareness of the suffering of people. But that positive response have the attention that they need, but not a huge dose of negativity that come from an disturbed emotion from within, and say, oh, I'm sorry, what, and then you start to cry. And so then you are actually in the same pool of energy like everybody else. But the idea is that you want to you want to be in a position to offer warmth to them. You want to be in a position to offer even your look, your eyes can carry that genuine compassion, that that somebody's family have died and that person is suffering. And even when I went, every place I went to, many places I went to, this was the case, because I meet a lot of people who have lost family members, or who are grieving. And so so but the thing is that people grief, I believe, is healed from by the warmth of heart. And but this we forget all the time, because we are helpless, we get caught up in it, we get lost in our emotions, emotional reactions. And so we actually miss the opportunity to nurture somebody when they need us the most. So this is something that I practice. Because of that, I could be working day and night, and I will not have enough food or water. Or that's why even when I went to Philippines, I remember the first maybe 6 months or so. The people had nothing. And even where I was sleeping, the water, it was raining, and my bed was getting wet, and there was mold everywhere, and there were no toilets. So uh, there were a lot of flies and mosquitoes. And but I went through what people went through with them, but I was a little bit above them in my attention, in my consciousness, in my interest, in my passion, in my excitement, in my kindness or compassion. Because of that, they can't let it go. Because this time when I went after 6-7 years, huge celebration, the marching bands and kids waving flowers, and Sri Lanka national anthem, 5-hour concert. And everywhere I went, including the hotel, big life-size banners with thanking me. This is after 6-7 years. And it is amazing that people have been touched. And it is not that I felt that they might have prepared for this for 1 month, and printing all these flags, the Sri Lankan flags and the national anthem, the kids coming and lining up and giving me roses and being dressed in beautiful clothes. And so it just, what I see in it is that if I were like them, if I got lost in their pain, and if I started to grieve with them, I could have lost my focus, because this is the moment that you can touch somebody. No matter how much pain they experience, what you radiate can penetrate it. And some of the videos, if you see in especially I'm relating to a typhoon, because I just came from there. And after I was in in a surprise, a big surprise, because I felt like after all these years, and to be able to go through all this to welcome me, and to appreciate, and I was thinking, and I was just there, and doing what I love to do, and enjoying what I do, and caring about people, and yeah, and this year, then after doing all this, people were telling, I said, maybe now, this is maybe third time they did it. Maybe next year. I said, no, 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 no. We want to welcome Reverend. They are Catholics. There is no Buddhist. There are no Buddhists. There are no Sri Lankans in those areas. They all were Catholics, and they said, oh, we want to welcome you again next year. And so what I get from this experience is humility, to see our ability to touch somebody when they are in deep pain depend on a disciplined thinking, and disciplining ourselves. And we need to have a lot of courage to discipline ourselves, a lot of courage to guide our thoughts and emotions and feelings in a healthy way, not to repress them and deny them, but in a shift ourselves so that it will all turn it into a more of a compassionate awareness. So I think that so what I would say, I walk away from those places feeling often energized, feeling excited, feeling achieved something, you know. So I do not think despair and suffering and disaster and all these things, the pain, should destroy us. It should nurture us. It should give us energy and excitement, enthusiasm, to pay attention and solve problems and help people to alleviate the suffering. And yeah.
So I imagine being able to come back to that strength and that courage and that compassion. Part of that is a byproduct of what must be a very robust spiritual practice. And while none of us have been called yet to be Buddhist monks, I'm wondering if you could speak to our opportunities to deepen and strengthen our spiritual practices. What do you find? You teach meditation all over the world. You were the in-house Omega meditation coach for not only the staff but in their programs. And I'm wondering if you could speak to meditation itself and how it is and what it is we look for as we're meditating.
Well, our spiritual practice have two aspects. One is the silence, self-reflection, introspection, relaxation, and self-awareness. And the other aspect is that making conscious choices, constantly conscious choices, realigning ourselves in daily basis by withdrawing for a few minutes from physical, material, worldly concerns and worries and fears, withdrawing from them and giving yourself personal time and total attention, so that you can get realigned. So it is good to have a daily practice, maybe sit for 20-30 minutes to meditate, but those who complain that they don't have time or they are too busy, and I would say that even if you don't sit formally and light candles and incense and ring the bells and sit in silence, if you can't do it, do a formal sitting, I suggest you to take time in daily basis, when you go to bed and when you wake up in the morning. Because if you make it an habit, you're ready to go to bed and you're going to fall asleep. And just before that, if you take 10 minutes, give yourself total attention for 10 minutes. And it is just like if you tell yourself, I'm there for myself, I'm with myself, I'm aware of myself, I'm positively connected to myself. This is my time. And after all, we have come to this life. We have taken this form to nurture ourselves and to bring the best of us, and live the best of us. So for that, you need to really turn close attention to yourself. So this, just before you go to bed, or before you fall asleep, let's say you're lying down and you think, okay, I'm ready to go to sleep now, taking that 10 minutes and tuning into yourself, realigning yourself. To realign, it is so important for you to reflect on the day with a positive enthusiasm, which means that not to get drawn into the chaos of the day and worry and be anxious and be scared and or feel guilty and fall asleep in this chaos of negative reaction to the day's events, which very often happens, to many people. And so if you say that if you give yourself a cut-off time, which means that 10 minutes before you go to sleep, I cut off myself from the world, because it is going to be my world, my dream world, my dream or consciously sleep world, and it is going to be. I'm entering into 8 hours of or 7 hours of connection in my world, because I want to drop everything. What happened today or what will happen tomorrow is something that I don't want to bring into that, which means, it's very interesting. A lot of the spiritual evolution is often a result of realistic reflection and introspection. And people always run into meditation and say, if you sit still and meditate, but I know people who have been meditating 20 years, they're just the same. They haven't changed much at all. And anger and bitterness or anxiety and all these things, they haven't changed. So I think this kind of it doesn't require a lot of time. It requires a discipline, and at the same time commitment. And if you say tell yourself that I am disciplined enough to give myself that 10 minutes every day before I fall asleep, to realign my thoughts and bring myself into a positive state, and fall asleep with my own heartbeat, fall asleep with my own conscious alertness, and fall asleep with peace, with a peaceful connection with myself. It's amazing that when you get up being energized, and you get up with positive enthusiasm, because I can wake up any time of the day, because I change time zones 10, 10 times a month sometimes. But I want, there is never a complaint about it. Oh my goodness, I can't. I never can say that, because waking up is always a good thing, anytime. And waking up is always to you. You're waking up to just to a world, to this amazing, uh, uh, you know, fascinating to world and amazing, fascinating life. And so I wake up at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock, because my flights are all at different times, and I constantly change time zones. But I'm not affected by that. I'm here in Czech Republic, Since I left US only less than a month ago. I was in Sri Lanka, I was in Malaysia, and I was in Philippines, I was in Dubai, and I was in Kenya, and then I came here. So with less than a month. But every time I adjust to the local time zone. Why? You don't use most of your potential when you're busy complaining about a busyness. A business, I mean, I don't see a difference between doing some chores at home or doing other things or traveling, because if you are in the right state of mind, it is just an event. A minute is a minute. Whatever you're doing, you pass that hour. Hour, it's an hour, and it doesn't have to be extra. You don't have to add extra weight to that because you are traveling. And of course, there is natural physical fatigue. You need to rest. Well, but adjusting your attitude helps you a lot. So, in other words, in the evening, as you know you know end the day, you as you turn off the light, imagine and plan how you want that 10 minutes to be, what kind of connection that you want to have, and how you can give absolutely 100% attention to yourself, so you know that you're consciously there with yourself in peace. You are realigning your thoughts, and you're also confronting and challenging yourself in a very positive way to give up or to move away from any painful or unpleasant conflicts that might have had in the day, so it won't enter into the sleep, the dream world. And then usually people go and fall asleep with all the chaos of the day. They keep it and they wake up. It seems like they never break the cycle. So they stay stressed, stay anxious, stay immature. The maturity is a result of giving that space, having that break. And so falling asleep with that lightheartedness and positive attitude, and with some sort of a realignment of your thoughts and energy would be amazingly rejuvenating. And not only that, it can contribute greatly um, to cultivate your inner strengths. So that's one part of it, and this is very practical. So no matter where I am, and I think that I think this is also connected to the first question, and that how do I stay centered and not get drawn into all this pain and suffering and misery around me in this kind of disaster situations. And I said that end the day with conscious choices, and positive reflections of what you have experienced. It's very important.
So I appreciate you walking us through the end of the day. You also mentioned that taking that time at the beginning of the day to really set the tone and welcome the day. And I recall, I think it was this last time that you were with us in New Jersey, you did a little mini meditation where you kind of walked us through when we first wake up in the morning, we first come into our awareness. You kind of walked us through, like modeling a little bit, how it is that we would have that inner stance of openness. And didn't know, perhaps I could ask you if you could lead us in a little meditation right now to kind of walk us through what that would be, and so that we can put that right into place tomorrow morning.
Very good. Is everyone interested in doing a short meditation?
That would, if that feels right to you.
I hope I can stay awake.
If I need to take it over, I will. No, I'm kidding. I think you got this. Susan said she'll break dance if you get sleepy. Yeah.
So yes. So maybe 5 minutes, short meditation.
Sure, 5-10 minutes. We have plenty of time, and it might just give everyone a nice real sense. You think it's about 10 minutes in the morning? Maybe you could just walk us through what that would look like and feel like.
Oh, the morning meditation. Very good. Very good. Okay, let's close our eyes and I will promise you I won't fall asleep. So just imagine that you are lying in your bed and you just open your eyes. Notice your position of your body, and you're lying on your bed and your body's relaxed. Visualize, or just imagine your body. And now take a deep breath, and as you breathe in, you fill your lungs. And as you slowly release it, I want you to connect with your body. As you breathe out, connect with your body, feel the body, let the body relax. Let the body relax with each breath as you breathe out. Now breathing in consciously, notice the sensation of the movement of your breath. Notice the rhythmic rising and falling of your chest. And as you breathe out, chest muscles naturally relax. Just observe that. And relax. Allow each breath to relax your body. As you breathe out, you feel that whole body becoming lighter with each breath. Now breathing in mindfully and peacefully. Observe your state of mind. Now taking in a breath mindfully, as you breathe out, let your mind slow down with your breath. And breathing in mindfully, visualize your mind slow down with your breath, into your breath. you feel calmer, you feel peaceful. Now breathing in, visualize that your mind slows down with your breath as you breathe in. As you breathe out, feel the body and visualize the body relax. Breathing in, my mind is calm. Breathing out, my body is relaxed. Breathing in, my mind is calm, and breathing out, my body is relaxed. Now breathing in, following the breath to the center of your chest, visualize warm, positive, peaceful feelings in you. Almost like warmth in your heart. And breathing in, feel warmth in your heart. And as you breathe out, smile and feel that smile in your body. And breathing in, visualize warmth in your heart. And breathing out, smile and feel that in your body. And you feel that you are greeting yourself with a gentle smile. You're connecting with yourself with positive feelings. With that smile, you remind yourself that you're going to pay more attention today to yourself. So you will be able to conduct daily activities or activities of the day and attend all matters calmly, patiently, with self-confidence. And breathing in, again, with a gentle smile as you breathe out. Remind yourself that not only you want to remain calm and be patient, but you are fully capable of remaining calm and be patient. Because when you remain calm, your perception is broader, you're more connected to the truth, you feel empowered from within. No matter how serious the challenges are, they are not hurting you or harming you or disturbing you. So breathing in peacefully and consciously, again breathing into your heart, Remind yourself this is a personal time that you 100% are conscious of yourself. Breathing in, you feel that you are at peace with yourself. And keep that smile, let it become bigger and see that you are so happy to wake up, to live another day. Experience this beautiful world. Connect with amazing people. So breathing in peacefully and mindfully. Remind yourself you make a commitment. You make a commitment to yourself with the happiness and well-being of yourself in your mind, knowing that it is your responsibility. It is the greatest, highest responsibility in life. You make a commitment to treat yourself respectfully, not to take other people's problems, weaknesses, unacceptable behavior affect you, harm you, or disturb you. Again, breathe in, remind yourself you're fully capable. So breathing in mindfully and peacefully. Feel a deep sense of gratitude for all the blessings that are part of your life today. We have millions of blessings around us constantly. So breathing in, be aware of your body, be grateful for your health, feel gratitude for your home or having a shelter to live. Be grateful. I'm grateful often just to be able to open a tap and wash my face and having a toilet in the house. And I'm grateful for so many things that many people don't think much. So feel gratitude for all the blessings that are part of your life. Everybody at home, your children, family members, or partners. In this moment, when you feel this gratitude, you're only connecting from heart to heart, not their personalities, their weaknesses, difficulties, what they have done and not done. It doesn't matter. But the gratitude comes from heart. It's not a reward for something. It is just the knowing that blessing is in your life for whatever karmic reason. Whoever you're with is part of your karmic journey today. It is up to you to make the best of it. It's up to you to lift your spirit and stay above their behavior and appreciate this karmic journey. So breathing in peacefully and mindfully. Remind yourself this is another fresh day, a new day. You want to wake up as a new person with a new enthusiasm, and new excitement and wanting to feel good in the day. Feeling good not because something good is happening or everything going to be good and right and um, wonderful. And feeling good is about being connected to yourself and know that every event that you experience during the day as the day unfolds is going to be a meaningful one. There are no good or bad things. There are events that happen. Some you like, some you don't like. But it doesn't matter. You take out the like and not like, happy and not happy, and you simply see them as events that occur as the day unfolds, and you're able to face them with equanimity, self-control, and a place of self-awareness. Breathing in mindfully and peacefully. Take another step forward and think to yourself that nothing or nobody is going to disturb me today. I'm fully capable of handling these people thoughtfully, patiently, with self-confidence. I'm ready to bring the best of me to this day. I'm ready to welcome this day with positive enthusiasm. I hope and I want to be a blessing to others who cross my path of life today. So breathe in peacefully and mindfully. See whether you can really feel the heartbeat as you breathe in. Feel the rhythmic rising and falling of your chest. The lungs expand. As you breathe out, the chest falls. You feel a sense of peace with yourself. breathe in peace. As you breathe out, relax. And a few more quiet moments with yourself, deeply conscious of each breath, the sensation of the movement of your breath, the energy in the breath. Bring yourself into this moment. Bring yourself closer to your breath. Feel as though the mind flows with breath harmoniously. You are in harmony with your breath. You are in harmony with your body. You are at peace with yourself. Now you can bring your palms together and put it in the center of your chest. And visualize yourself again being at peace with yourself. Consider this as a gesture to remind yourself that you're respectfully connected to yourself, respectfully connected to life, respectfully connected to the world. And this is the connection that you want to take out to the world as you get out of the bed, as you get out of the house. And breathe in peacefully and consciously. You can repeat a few times, I'll face all the challenges of the day calmly and patiently. I'll bring the best of myself into this beautiful day and make it a meaningful and peaceful and joyful one. May my presence, my thoughts, words, and action bring blessings to others. Bhavatu sabha mangalam rakhantu sabha devata sabha buddhanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabha mangalam rakhantu sabha devata sabha dhamma anubhavena sada soti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabha mangalam rakhantu sabha devata sabha sangha anubhavena sada sati bhavantu te. May there be peace, love, and harmony in my life. Now, when you're ready, you can open the eyes and you have realigned yourself and ready to bring the best of you to live a meaningful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. Just a little bit of magic right there. And really appreciate you bringing us into that. And I appreciate you bringing us back out of it. Quite a gift. I see that, I think I see Reverend Carol. Reverend Carol, you motioning to me? Do you have a question or a comment for Bhante? She's going to unmute herself. You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I couldn't find it.
There you go.
No question at all. I just wanted to say hi. If I'm correct, that language is Pali, is it not, Bhante?
Yes, it is.
So
Yeah.
that is, you know, like his second or third or fourth language, whatever, but that's the language Buddha spoke.
Yes. Reverend Carol, it's nice to see you.
Yes, I didn't realize that. I appreciate you sharing that. Well, I have plenty of questions, but I want to, part of what was so attractive to Bhante about coming and being with us is the fact that, we're all here, and as he said in the beginning, he welcomes all questions and would love to hear from any of you. So I just want to open it up. If you feel called to kind of ask a question or just connect with Bhante, I just want to invite everyone to do that. He's, as you can see and can feel now, is just happy to share wherever you are and wherever the question may be. So I just want to open the floor for that right now.
You have to ask the question before I fall asleep.
There you go. Okay. I'm practiced at this, letting it all be silent. So I may be one of the calmest people here, but I just want to give it a couple seconds to see if people check in and see if they have something they'd like to offer.
My gosh, Bhante, what time is it there?
It's about at 2 o'clock, after 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being with us then. Oh my gosh.
But that's good, It's any time is a good time to meditate and, right?
That's
Share
what I
something
hear.
good and positive.
Buddhist friends.
All right, I got one.
Sure.
Hi, Bhante Ji.
Hello, Susan.
So tell us a little bit about how you find your projects, your humanitarian projects, how they come to you, or what guides you to go towards one or the other? Because I imagine you're so much in demand.
Especially when I arrive in any country or any disaster zone, it just the way it unfolds. For example, I can be only at one place in one time. So when I'm there, whatever that touches me the first, and also I take a little bit evaluation just to see how many people are going to benefit from it, what is the intensity of the need. So I also feel quite intuitively connected to the problem and the struggle that people are going through. So I take up that project. But if there are 5 projects, 5 requests to do a water project, I think whatever touches me the deepest is the one that I go with. And often I cannot fulfill everybody's requests. I cannot solve everybody's problem. So I have to justify, feeling that I made a difference in the lives of the people in this village, and I'm very grateful and happy about it. But and that is all what I can do, rather than feeling bad about not being able to help the people in 4 other villages who have requested me to help. You have to think about the resources, you have to think about the staff and things like that. So uh, always there is more than one problem, and I have to choose one. I don't think it is very difficult. I think it is quite easy, and I never regret or feel bad about the people that I couldn't help.
So it's, thank you, Dawn. She's good. So it sounds like the guidance that some would say it's your gut, it's your instinct, but it sounds like you are just trusting that you will know, that you will just show up open to it, and that you will just have that. Would you call it a spiritual intuition, or how would you describe that knowing that you have about which direction to go?
I would say, be at peace with yourself. Let compassion guide you. Don't feel stressed about making decisions. Don't let emotions disturb you. You will do the right thing. What you're doing is what you're supposed to do, and it brings you happiness.
So it sounds like the underpinning there is that bedrock trust and faith that life is.
It is effortless, which means that I remember when I arrived in a disaster zone, like I remember after even at the end of the war in Sri Lanka, I was going to help them, and one of my sponsors asked me, "I want to help you. What are you going to do? And can I send you money?" I said, "No, don't do that. I have no idea what I will do." So, and there are a lot of things that I have to go and see the access and the possibilities and the the reality in the field. So the moment I had access and understood some of the problems, I said, I want to solve this problem. So I don't focus on too many, and I only focus on one problem at a time, and say that, yes, they have no food, or they need medicine or medical supplies, and we need to get that arranged. So when I'm done that, and I go to the next one. So we all have the capacity and the ability to tune in and allow the compassion to motivate us as we choose to help people. The idea is when there are 10 problems and you can solve only one, and you need to put your heart into that, and you need to be content with it, and you need to prevent yourself being too anxious or worried or feeling bad about not helping to solve 9 other problems. And this, I think, is very important, to keep that balance. How you get the fulfillment of changing one life and use it as a strength, and bring more compassionate awareness to just to say, I'm glad I could help to change one life, but I have no reason to feel bad about not being able to help 9 other people. Do you understand?
Yes, it sounds like there's an inner conviction of just trusting that life is going to guide you to where you need to be, and to not get into the mind and the second guessing and the ego wondering what it should have done and all of that kind of activity. It sounds like it's just a very centered way of looking at these very real problems.
Yeah, that is the most important thing to remember. Any situation, even in your daily life, and if you're facing a lot of challenges, it is important to prepare yourself. First, bring some humility to say that I'm not here to change the world and alleviate suffering of everybody. I'm simply not able to do it. The reality that surrounds us, is so vast, so big. So I am not going to disturb the enormity of the problem. But I bring humility and say, I recognize the things, the actions that I can take within my limits. And I also wanted to be positively connected and be joyful about it.
And be joyful. That's beautiful. Thank you. So let me see if anyone else has a question. Great, Helen.
Hi, and just thank you so much for being with us this evening. Thanks for all you're doing. I had a question. I don't know if it's a bit of a big one, but you mentioned many times, or I certainly heard many times, about staying above emotions and not letting emotions disturb us. And I wondered if you could speak to what is the nature of emotions? What is it? Because sometimes I'm a very emotional person, and I'm told frequently that maybe I should control my emotions. And I sometimes feel that maybe it's okay to have lots of emotions, but I would love to hear you share about why maybe emotions are negative, perhaps.
Well, the thing is, emotions can disturb us because with the emotional excitement, the anxiety rises. When the anxiety rises, our perception becomes narrower. And sometimes we get blinded. It happens in any emotion, positive or negative. But the thing is, when your perception is narrowed by a negative emotion, often that you are stuck also in painful state. And that really disturbs you and throw you off balance. And so I don't say it is sad, it is bad to be sad, but when I'm really sad, I diminish, I feel my capacity getting diminished, and my perception getting narrowed, and my intuition getting suppressed. And so the idea is to prepare. Anytime you will see that the anxiety rises, you get emotional excitement, your intuitive awareness, suppressed. So you have to struggle to make decision. And so that is why I think, especially when you notice the suffering of others, I would say my responsibility, that if I were to, I'm coming to see you, you are in pain, I want to relieve you from your pain, I want to comfort you. But the real comfort is not that emotional exchange, but the real comfort is coming by producing the opposite energy from yours. And so emotions also very often triggers. They are triggers because, for example, if you are naturally unhappy in life, and if you are repressing your own basic needs, and if you have a lot of conflicts in your life as a result of constant pressure and turmoil, you could become a trigger-driven person, which means that a small thing happens, you start to cry. It's a trigger coming, and which means that it is blocking your attention, and it takes away your focus, and you're not free to make decisions thoughtfully and consciously. You are moved by the anxiety of a trigger that is a result of sometimes a result of stagnant accumulation of um, discomfort or unhappiness or pain or and things like that. Especially the people who are going through the pain of loneliness is a pain, or pain of not getting basic fulfillment in life, sensual, sexual, emotional. And if people are going through that, it is much easier for them to be controlled by by a trigger emotions. And not only that, and when the triggers have a higher dose of energy, if you are a miserable person, and if you really deprived yourself from personal fulfillment in life, something bad happened and you could be 80% suffering, rather than somebody who is really balanced and fulfilled, maybe suffering only 10%. Or the trigger will produce only 10% dose of 10%, negativity. So, the way I see that, especially when I go to other places, that's why I said, get that time in the evening, get that time with yourself in the morning, get yourself into a calm state so that you are prepared and prevent these triggers coming and taking over your mind and influencing your decisions. So I make the best of my decisions, especially when I'm motivated. When I say I'm motivated by compassion, when I'm really motivated by compassion, and I feel that that I'm not a trigger-driven person, I have quite even if I have seen that that people I can recall many moments where I felt emotional, which means that a father crying and about two children being dead, have died, or, a mother weeping, of the son being killed, and so things like that, and you just feel, but you don't allow your emotions to escalate to a point where you get lost in it. This is a skill that you have to use, because once the emotion is triggered, and it can take you to any place, and it can depress you, and the compassion, as I said, that's why I said compassion is not an emotional reaction. It is a positive response come from the awareness of the problem. So to become aware and remain aware of that in that moment, feel the pain of the person, but not emotionally get disturbed, is a challenge. And this is what we need to train all ourselves for, because if we train ourselves well, we can. And I also tell people very clearly, if you really want to feel the pain of somebody, don't get disturbed emotionally. Because if you're really sad and I'm sad with you, I have no clue what you're going through, because I'm lost in my own pain. So if I want to get to know your pain, and I need to be in that state of awareness, and I need to tune in and feel what you're going through, and I know your pain, but I'm not anxious, and I'm not lost in anxiety-driven emotion.
So it sounds to me like it's, again, coming back to the practices every single day where we're bringing ourselves present, we're putting attention on the fact that we are this broader awareness and kind of zeroing out, that allows us to bring that equanimity. It sounds like that's one of the qualities you're pointing to again and again. Really an emotional, it's not that you're not emotional, but there's an equanimity to it. Is that the...
You know that for example, we all go through many struggles in life, and it is very clear to us. We know by example, by experience, that how when we go through difficulties, how quickly we react to things, how we overreact to things. It's normal for all of us. We don't say we shouldn't, but I think it is important for us to know that this is what would happen when we take eye away from ourselves, and when we are not able to realign ourselves in timely manner, release whatever stress that you accumulate in timely manner, and reflect and make choices in timely manner. And this way it can keep us sane. And because if you accumulate too much stress by holding on to an emotion, sometimes your personality has already been affected, because it has been there for too long. And so your personality has been already affected, so it's much harder to change yourself much later. So that's why I said timely manner. It's so important. If somebody dies, you need to, you feel sad or upset, but release it in timely manner, move on in timely manner, because if you hold on to it for too long, your personality is going to be altered by it or affected by it. And when that happens, it's much harder to change, right?
I see that we're coming up on the end of our time. I was hoping that we could cajole you into perhaps reading us one of your poems. I didn't know if you were able to put your hands on your poem book. Do you have a copy of it there?
Did Carol tell you to ask me to read a poem? Because she always tells me, come to the church and read a poem.
Yeah, that'd be a lovely way to end.
So,
We have, no, it's not gonna. We have about 3 minutes, so I don't know if you have a shorter poem.
Oh, 3 minutes, huh?
3 minutes.
Ah. Sorry, I think I need to find a book. My book is there, but you can. Does it get cut off in 3 minutes?
No, there's just someone else that comes in right at 9 o'clock, though.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So it may not be enough time. Yes, this time.
Okay. So
I will read the short poem that I have in my book.
Okay, great.
If you could be nice to somebody who is not nice, you're really nice. Did you get it?
That is perfect. All right, words to live by. Well, listen, I really want to thank you. I want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to thank you, Bhante. I want to thank Susan for helping set up the computer, and I want to thank everyone for coming here. And Bhante, we're
it works out perfectly, because I'm so glad that there was no glitches in the internet. Usually it is slow, so it always everything went well. And I also want you to please take one or two things, thoughts that we all came together and took this time to listen. But I hope that afterwards, see what one or two things that might help you to reflect on and integrate into your life. And especially, please make choices about bedtime meditation and waking up in the morning meditation. Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you again, Bhante ji.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Everybody, and wish you.
Namaste.
Thank you for watching this satsang. If you enjoyed this, please visit our website, awakening-together.org. There's plenty of inspiration to be found. Thank you again for watching.